Do you ever sit there and think that you've been lied to your entire life about what success is supposed to be? Like, how many friends do we have? How many people do we know, ourselves included, where they say, okay, you're going to go to school, you're going to get an education, then you're going to go to university, and through university you'll get a job, and then you get a job, and then you'll get promoted, okay, and then you get promoted, then you make management, right, okay, then you'll get a bigger pay packet, then you get the nice house and the nice car, and then you'll have kids, and you get married, and everything will be fine. And then when you get there, you realise, I'm still not fulfilled. I've still not got what I was seeking. I've not got what I wanted. Life has laid out, society has laid out, the people around me have laid out a framework for living that we were told would lead to a successful life, a successful existence. And yet, when we reach it, we feel like we're the problem because we're not satisfied. And this is something a lot of the people who come to me and work with me tell me, that maybe they joined the emergency services, maybe they got a job in finance, maybe they got a job selling insurance, maybe they got a job working in tech, for example. And yet they sit there and they say, what's the fucking problem? why am I not happy with what I've got? And this is something I definitely felt, because I worked a variety of different jobs when I was growing up. I started work about 14 years old. I used to go with my stepdad before school, and I used to go and he was a delivery driver, a courier, so I used to go and work with him. And then I'd get dropped off at school. I'd do a day at school, and then I'd get picked up again and work in the afternoon. I did that for quite a few years. Then I got my own driving licence, so I got my own job as a courier. I was like, well, great, okay, and I'm moving up in the world. Granted, I worked like 80 to 90 hours a week for next to nothing, but that's an entirely different video about how my parents were. And then I left that and I got a job as a carer. Great, you know, I'm working as a carer, I'm stepping into my own world now, standing on my own 2 feet. Got a carer, met a girl, got engaged. That didn't work out. And then I was like, right, okay, great. I'm gonna try my hand at a proper career. You know, because I didn't want to progress in care work. I'd wanted to be in the police for years. And I thought, I'm going to join the police. This is what I've always wanted to do. I'm going to join the police. And then I managed to somehow get a career in the police. And I did that for about 10 years. And even after that amount of time, and offered to go for promotions and offered specialist training and stuff like that, I reached a point where I was sat there on a Sunday night, ready to go into work on the Monday morning, with my head in my hands just going, I don't want to do this anymore. But hang on, everyone around me is saying, but you've worked so hard for this career, you're very good at your job, there's career prospects, you can go build a promotion route, you can earn decent money if you can climb high enough, good pension, good prospects, blue light card in shops, get discount on things, you know, it's great. Why would you ever want to give this up? And the simple answer was, and I've spoke about this in great detail in my books and on my other channel, but ultimately it just boils down to I wasn't happy. And I've spoken to people, not just in the career I was in, but in careers where they've had to go to university to get that degree in order to secure the job which they've ended up in. And they go, I'm just not happy. Yes, the money's good. And again, you feel like you're the problem. And this asks a question is, people say, well, you shouldn't just chase happiness. I remember speaking to somebody once, and he was an accountant, and he was a very wealthy accountant. And he said, you can't just pursue happiness in life, because if you pursue happiness, you'll end up with no money and you'll end up with no pension. And then he asked the question of, what is happiness? What does it mean? What is fulfillment in our work? What is fulfillment in what we do? And the question to that is, I've met plenty of millionaires who were depressed. I've got friends who are doing very well for themselves. And the stress levels, what they face and what they're under, is incomprehensible. But equally, those people who are doing very, very well for themselves, and I don't just mean my friends in this case, I mean other people too, is that there's always the next step, there's always the next goal. So you'll reach a point in your career where, say, you're earning £50,000 a year, £70,000, £100,000 a year, if not more. You'll have assets, you'll have cars, you'll have the house, you'll have the, marriage and everything else, and kids, and you still won't be satisfied. And that asks the question is, why do we look at happiness in the sense of ones and zeros? Is there a different way of gauging happiness? And I've come to this realization that happiness, deep, fulfilling happiness, is you wake up every day loving what you do. You wake up every day enjoying what you do. Be that you earn very little, but you can earn enough to pay the bills, and you get to spend the days at home with your kids. Maybe you work from home, maybe you're an entrepreneur, maybe you've started a business. I'm about to go to the gym, so maybe you get to take your lunch break and go to the gym. Live life by your own means, not dictate by somebody else. So then when you strip that away and you go, I'm going to live life by my own means, well, what does that look like for me? And if that is the conventional, get a house, get a job, go to university, get a career, do everything which they tell you should do, get the family, the white picket fence, that's fine. And if you're happy doing that, then that's great. But the point is, you've made that choice. Society hasn't dictated what you need to do. And the problem with how society works and society's method of success and measurement of success is that it's trying to fit a square peg into a round hole. Sometimes people fit into that box and they are perfectly content with it. But most of the time it's not the case. Most of the time it's, this is what I was sold and now I'm here. I believe I'm now the problem because I'm not satisfied. And that's a really difficult thing to swallow, because because people say to you, well, just get on with it. I haven't enjoyed my job for the past 30 years, but you know what? It pays the bills. It's not, if you believe you get one life, then it's not normal to just pay bills and die. That's basically what these people are saying. Oh, I live for the weekend. I work 50 weeks a year, I work 48 weeks a year, and then I get 4 weeks off a year, and that's my time to take care of myself. That's my time to truly be happy. Or the worst one, what people do, and I see this so many times, so many people who I used to work with, counting down till the days till you retire. Meaning that once I've got X amount of years in, once I've accumulated X amount of pension pot, then I can retire and then I can live my life. So we are saying, for the sake of £20,000, £100,000, whatever it may be, £10,000, £15,000 a year pension, we're saying that is worth sacrificing 30 years of your life, the best years of your life, because you retire at 55, depending what industry you're in, or more than likely you retire at 60, 70. Your kids have grown up. You probably had a few failed relationships, depending on how demanding the job was. And you've spent so long trying to get to this end, you're so long trying to get to this next bit. But all the while, we're missing the point of it. We're missing the integral point of it. And there's a philosopher called Alan Watts, and he speaks about this. And he says, throughout life, we are told we have to get to the next bit. And only if we get to the next bit, we get to that end, we get to the next bit, then we'll be satisfied. You've got to finish college, you've got to finish school, you've got to go to uni, you've got to get a job, you've got to get a relationship, you've got to get a promotion, you've got to get this, you've got to make partner, you've got to hit this target and hit that target. And then eventually, okay, now you retire. And when you retire, that's when you're finally done. And then when you retire, then you can go on that holiday you've been wanting to do. Then you can do this, do that. You're missing the point the entire time. The point is to enjoy the dance, enjoy what's happening now. Live life by your own means, live life on your own terms. So if you are very dissatisfied with the way your career's going, with the way your life is, then live life on your own terms. What does happiness look like to you? You don't need hundreds of thousands of pounds in the bank. Because, trust me when I say, I know plenty of people who are earning very, very good money and they're still not satisfied. There is still something else they need to get. Or they are living a life which essentially their belongings own them. They've bought into the trap They're on 80 to £100,000 a year, and their house, their car, their lifestyle demands that they stay in that job. So therefore, they can't leave. They have no choice but to stay in the career they hate. They're on medication, for God's sake, because they are so unhappy with their life. They're literally on medication to get through the day because of the trap what they've caught themselves in. And this is what I don't want for you. I don't want you to think that the way out of your misery, the way out of the pain you're feeling, whether you're in your 30s, your 20s, your 50s, whatever, however old you are watching this video right now. I'm in my mid-30s, and I feel like I've had enough experience of learning, being in different careers and learning different things. I've studied enough philosophy and Buddhism and my own lived experience as well, and seeing other people around me get to these points of not falling into the trap of more means more. Consumerism, bigger car, bigger house, bigger pay packet means a more fulfilled life, because it doesn't. And that is the rule, that is the trap we fall into. The best way is, absolute poverty is not good, okay? If I'm not saying to you, quit your 80 grand a year job, quit your 50 grand a year job and go live as a monk. I mean, sometimes that might be actually a lot happier. I actually know a monk at the temple I go to sometimes, and he was a genetic scientist, a biological professor, something like that, earning crazy money, really, really good, top of his field. He said now he's a monk and he owns nothing, and he just gets to live a peaceful, happy life. He said he's never been happier. You can give me all the money in the world, I will not go back to that. I will not go back to that. So there's something called the middle way in Buddhism, and I don't necessarily want this to become a Buddhism talk, but there's something called the middle way, and it's having too little is bad. Having abundance is also bad, because as we know, you can get caught into a trap, and over here there's suffering too. So it's finding your middle. It's finding what is enough. You don't need to have it all. You just need to have enough. So can you, if you hate your job, can you go down to one car? Can you downsize your property? And, you know, yeah, it sounds counterintuitive. Why would I want to move to a smaller house? Well, because the bigger house what you're in is costing you your long-term happiness and keeping you in that trap. Can you change career? You don't need thousands and thousands of pounds coming in every month. If the cost of that, the real cost of that, the hidden cost, is your day-to-day sanity, your day-to-day happiness. You need enough to pay your bills and to live off what you have, to enjoy life. There are many people out there who would benefit if they didn't care what other people thought, and they took away from the sunk cost fallacy. So if you know what that means, the sunk cost fallacy is essentially this. You are so far into something that you would rather stay in that thing than leave because of the time that you've already put into it. Take a marriage, for example. You've been in a marriage for 10 years. You absolutely despise each other. You can't stand each other. You don't sleep with each other anymore. You barely hold hands. You barely talk. You don't like each other. One of you might be thinking of having an affair. You know what I mean? You're not happy where you are. But people stay in that because they go, well, we've got a house, we've got kids, we've been together 10 years, might as well stay together. I mean, of course, going back to the dating pool can be pretty fucking awful. But that isn't the reason to stay with somebody. You shouldn't stay with somebody or stay in a job or stay in a career because of the time that you've already invested in that career if that career is no longer serving you. A successful career doesn't have to mean that you start and then you could go to completion. A successful career could be you do it for 5 years or 10 years, you got a lot out of it and you learned a lot and you did really well, and you decide to leave before it starts to get to the point where you start resenting it. So middle way, find your own path, see what you can do, see what changes you can make in your life. And if you do want more support, make sure you like and subscribe to this to this channel. But on top of that, there's also mentoring and coaching too. Whether you're a man and you're stuck and you don't know where to go, whether you need more help in getting fit, getting strong, losing some body fat, preparing yourself for when the zombies come, there is coaching and mentoring available, and there is a link in the description of this video to that. But thank you very much for your time and your attention. I'm going to go work out. You have a fantastic day. Remember, middle way. You don't need it all. You just need enough. And what does enough look like to you?